Elena Panaritis. She's former Greek member of parliament for the Socialist PASOK party, also a former World Bank economist. Elena, wonderful to have you on the program. First of all, you know the PASOK party very well. You know Mr. Venizelos. Is he going to stick to his guns by requiring that Syriza be part of the government, or would he perhaps engage in a coalition with his archenemy, New Democracy, the winner of the election?
Well, I think we've had a bit of a, he pretty much said both things, and that's what has confused people. He said that we do need to get into a coalition that will participate with parties that will have a European Union trajectory and a European Euro trajectory. Yet yesterday night he wanted to re-engage Syriza. But I believe at the end of the 72 hours that were given to form a government, we will of course form a government, and of course Venizelos will be part of it.
Venizelos will be part of that government, but how do you envisage that government taking shape, knowing what you know about PASOK and New Democracy being bitter rivals for decades?
Yes. Yeah, it's not just that it's PASOK and New Democracy that are bitter rivals, but these elections are showing from the populace by basically increasing the popular vote of Syriza that they were very much, people are very much angry and against the two big parties. My party, PASOK, has received the world time low of 12-point-something%, 12.5%. And of course, Samaras, with just the dilemma of the euro or out of the euro, recently in the elections yesterday received a 30% vote. But imagine now we're going to have a coalition of the two big parties that the people voted against. That will be a double whammy, if you wish, because we will have not just two rivals colliding, but also two big parties ruling the country that voted against the big parties. I guess that's the reason why President Venizelos of PASOK decided to voice yesterday the importance of having a representation from Syriza. But let's see how this is going to work out. Syriza is definitely not interested in governing. We have to see how, you know, the hours are passing.
So Syriza is not interested in governing. However, 25%, more than 25% of the country voted for it. So how much of a mandate does that actually give the other parties?
Well, Syriza got a very big chunk of the votes as a reaction, as I said earlier, to two things. One is to the no vision of coming out of the crisis, a series of austerity waves that we had to take for the last 2 years, about 7 austerity waves that have basically reduced the wages and the purchasing power, as well as depleted the savings of the middle class. And this has pretty much we know the move of the popular vote to Syriza. It is not necessarily a vote that goes there because people want Syriza to govern. On the other hand, we do need to have a government. And that's the oxymoron of the situation now. We're going to have a government with New Democracy. And,
Elena?
of course, at the end of the day, PASOK, yeah.
You say that it's a rejection of the old traditional parties that got Greece into this mess, but it's also a rejection, correct, as you say, of austerity. Now, I wonder, because the Europeans are unlikely to budge very much, aren't they, on the fiscal and structural reforms that they require of Greece. So my question is, how much more austerity can the Greek people stomach? Are we going to be 3 months down the road here with people on the streets rejecting austerity once again?
Well, you see, you just said the magic word. You said austerity and structural reforms. Structural reforms take a long time. We haven't really seen any outputs on the structural reforms or any real results of structural reforms, and that's because we misdiagnosed the crisis as an accounting crisis, as a crisis of liquidity, instead of looking at the crisis in Greece as a structural crisis, which is basically a crisis of lack of competitiveness and lack of productivity. And structural changes and structural reforms would allow for our productivity and our competitiveness to improve. These are the reforms that need to take place, and they haven't taken place. If we continue simply with austerity measures alone, I'm afraid no one will be able to swallow that anymore in Greece.
But
even those who voted for New Democracy.
Is New Democracy and its leadership going to be able to force through those structural reforms? And I wonder if Samaras actually has any innovative ideas, anything new when it comes to how to stimulate growth in Greece.
Yeah. Well, that's another very good question, because that's where Samaras' leadership and the future of this government will basically depend on. The ability of Samaras to lead not simply structural reforms, but lead, if you wish, a change of focus of the reform package that we have been having so far, which will be from a short-term accounting, if you wish, fiscal austerity measure to a more long-term and serious structural change that is so much in need. So Samaras will need to create a warlike cabinet with people that have had the experience of stabilizing countries under crisis of that sort, and not as much with people that are party associated with either New Democracy or PASOK. And let's see if he will be able to do it.
Elena Panaritis, thank you very much for joining us. Former member of the Greek Parliament for the Socialist Party and also former economist at the World Bank. Thank you.